Tell me about your life. I know that you were playing in the Ronnie's house band in your last year of college, which must have been great, but also quite tiring if you're doing class by day. Um, so tell me how it was to graduate from Guildhall. How was your life straight out of college?
Was sad. I was really enjoying that rhythm. I was
Mm.
living it. I wasn't sleeping much, but you know what I mean. I don't know if you experienced this, but when you're doing something you love so much, there's something in you that drives you forward. You know, it just accept it. Plus, I'm in London. I didn't grow up in London. I came there to really challenge myself to the fullest. So
Yeah,
every second matters. And
yeah,
I had quite the blues after leaving Guildhall. Even though I
okay,
had a lot of gigs to looking forward to,
yeah,
I was already working.
yeah,
Actually, so funny, Tom, because I was already like I graduated in 2011
yeah,
June, final recital, and I was of course doing the house band, studying during the day, and then preparing for my final recital and go do the early sets at Ronnie's and late sets at Ronnie's. And I would get back at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, be up at 7:30, 8, go back to school again, do it all again. But I finished college. It was quite weird. I didn't enjoy actually all of a sudden not having that workout that I was used to. But it was so funny when it was my graduation day. I had to do the Ronnies and said, "Guys, sorry, I have to leave. I have to go to my graduation." And I had to put my hat on and all the bells and whistles for that. So that was kind of emotional. And I guess it's what if I was a director of a music school, that's what I want to see, is having that sort of rate of success where
yeah,
um, someone followed their path and they're doing the right thing for themselves, you know. And there's no baby cradle here. You have to find your own
yeah,
path for
100%.
yourself.
I
And
think,
bringing back the City Music Foundation, that's what you allowed me to do. You allowed me to curate again what is it that I want to say, what is the statement I want to make, and what tools do I need to make that work.
yeah. No, I think I agree with you that that's a sign of a good music school when that's allowed to happen. I mean, there was never, when I studied, there was never any conflict if you had gigs. In the jazz department, if you had gigs, that kind of was a perfect excuse for anything.
Yeah.
Like that was always pretty much always allowed. And sometimes there might be with the odd student a bit of they would have to make the call as to whether this amazing college gig or an amazing album recording outside of college, which one was more important. But there would be enough players to make it work anyway, whichever decision was made. But yeah, I'm fully with you. That's really interesting. I'm glad to know I wasn't the only one that felt kind of sad coming out of college as well. When
No,
you've got that
I
thing
really had the
you've got
blues.
used to, and then you have to kind of rebuild your daily routine and everything.
Because I'm sure maybe it might be useful even for one person listening to us talk,
Yeah,
because that's the point of this conversation, is to
yeah,
be able to inspire or maybe answer some questions they've been having with themselves. It's important. It's important when you are in school to realize that school doesn't give you the ticket for gigs, doesn't give you the golden key to every answer. No, actually, is the opposite. it's making you really reassess how how much do you actually have to give in order to be out there gigging. So it's the platform for you to really stretch yourself as much as possible and go find the work yourself. So it's really important, as soon as you start college, do that homework straight away. And that begins with having social skills, have to deal with people, and have to find your crew, find the people you like to play with, hang around with, find the people that you don't like to play with and make it work too. Find uncomfortable situations where you can actually bring the best out of that situation. It's all about us as improvisers. We have to find the solution on the spot. People say, I heard recently about syncopation, and is like is that motion of bringing things forward. Syncopation keeps it moving, and syncopation can be also seen as uncomfortable situations because it's not on the beat, it's off beat. So it's kind of hurts a little. And that's a very kind of the closest analogy I think right now in terms of when you are in school, find those uncomfortable situations and make them find a solution for them. I don't know if this is too abstract, but I always remember colleagues of mine, wow, how are you gigging? How do you do that? And I was like, dude, I go out and I'll show my face and I'll show what I love to do. And that's the best audition ever. You go out, you have to go out and show yourself. That's how I got the gig. If I wasn't going to the jams every night, how would I be at Ronnie's?
And I'm kind of thinking of kind of new ways. Like, actually, I should just pick up the phone and chat to people more. Like, because I don't, in normal life, I don't do that because I see people. But actually, it's that like thing of picking up the phone when you can't see people, even if it's not your general habit. It's actually a nice way to kind of get ideas, see what people are up to, Like if you look at it objectively, jazz musicians are almost in the worst position with this social distancing and gigs being cancelled. But in some ways, the entire lifestyle teaches you flexible thinking and, improvising, and how are we going to make the most of it? And I'm interested to see what people are up to, like on social media already. With even doing this interview is not something that we would have done before, probably.
Yeah, I'm loving talking to you because we're always learning something from each other. If you are with an open mind and heart, you always observe something that that is going to change you in a way.
Yeah.
But the first moment is to let yourself open, right? Because sometimes we are too close on ourselves and not letting any other information come in. And I understand why, because we sometimes are so overwhelmed. And also I want to give a tip to any City Music Foundation applicants, which is, it's not easy and it's not for everyone. It's about City Music Foundation stretches you to the very limit because you have a lot of meetings, a lot of people of great importance sparing their precious time to be with you. Now on the Zoom call, when I was an applicant 6 years ago, on rooms, and it was hard to make it work. And sometimes you don't have enough time to process. That's why it felt like going back to school again, with City Music Foundation in the best way, which is you have to have, because you're already earning a living, you already work. I was fortunate because I was already so busy working, but yet I was given this opportunity to, man, there's an opportunity here to even stretch even further, to who you want to, what statement you want to make,
Sure.
So I advise everyone that is in that situation to apply, because this foundation is, of course, it's a blessing if you do get in, because there's thousands of applicants around the UK. So once you're in, they really make sure that you have all the skills. Even now today, it's funny, Tom, because I have keep a book, and I still have some CMF meetings to do with networking, or to do with building up a MailChimp following, or to do with how to keep your bookings, stuff that we musicians forget because we just care about the craft, the music, to play. But they really look after that side really well.
Could you please tell me, as your career flourished, well, it sounds like it already was before CMF got involved, but how exactly did CMF support you?
Well, how exactly is they had the fund to help me financially build a website.
Mm.
They helped me create business cards, how to do it from scratch.
Yeah.
They helped me to finance the cost of having a solo percussion show, which, as you know, I don't think there's any other city, well, probably New York would be the next one, side to side with London, but to have a room full of percussion instruments, having to hire them, the room to have it, and the whole to have it on and to record it. They supported financially all those costs, which I wouldn't be able to take myself. Even though I was working, it's still a big investment.
Oh, yeah.
So they really took that weight off my shoulders, and I'm eternally grateful for that. And that's to do with having a vision. Once you have a vision, they'll go, okay, I don't think that's going to be a good route. Here we can help. Here not so much. And there's that communication like you are a pro. You know, like it should be. You know, you've been treated like you're already doing something. So I cannot imagine develop the solo show without their help. And it was great. And you know what, Tom? It really developed me as a communicator. You know, when I had to do a solo show and presented myself, I had to really come up with the goods in terms of how to communicate the pieces you're talking about as well. You performing. I mean, you know, I know some people don't appreciate talking on gigs. Actually, even is my second language, I'm now so comfortable just going out to an audience and talk and say, and just be you, you know, share your love for what you like to do. And they are there for you either. So they got your back, you know?
Yeah.
So it was great. And I'm sure Claire, everyone was there to support you. And it was not meant to be successful. You know, the aim was not, we want to make money out of this. They didn't never said, hey, we're not going to make money out of this. So you rather just maybe think about something else. No, they said, no, we are here to take risks. You know, let's take the risk and let's bring it forward.
Yeah. Did you make new connections with CMF artists and stay in touch with any of them?
I do. I through social media, of course, and sometimes I mail some colleagues that don't live in UK and to see how they are. And again, that's kind of part of our job, is to make sure we touch base with the people that we like to work with. And I learned that from older musicians than me, that they are really good at it, you know.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a perfect example of that. For any fans of Joni Mitchell, Carole King, James Taylor, I've been having the honor to tour with Leland Sklar. He's a great bass player that is from the LA scene of the 70s until now. He recorded Spectrum with Billy Cobham.
Sure, yeah. I've seen your photos with him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of, and he's a dear friend now, you know, and he's the legend, you know, what we call the legume. He is the ultimate role model for me, how to be a freelancer and not having your own boss, which is great. But there's a lot of code that comes with it, and one of it is, you know, once in a while, he drops an email saying, "Man, I miss playing with you, and how are you? Where are you? You know, is anything I can do? Or I just hope you are aware. I look forward to the next time." And that's a beautiful thing that doesn't take even 1 minute, but yet it flowers the plant for the future relation, the future connections, you know, and that's really important.
now that you do have an established career, how do you look back at this period of your life, and what advice would you give to the current new CMF artists?
Yeah. Um, I think just don't miss any lessons, and get your mailing list going, get your contacts, get the website running really nicely, and register on PRS, MCPS if you are a composer. Yeah. Do all those boring things that are now going to pay you some checks every 3 months, you know, because as soon as you start gigging, people forget there is money to be had from those organisms that live for you. Another tip is be relaxed. Be relaxed. It's hard to be relaxed because there's so much attention on you, because everyone is pulling so much of their time. Yeah. Acknowledge them and do the best you can, but be relaxed. Don't panic.
Yeah. And do you think that these are skills that weren't covered so much? I mean, I know you, obviously you've said how much of a fantastic time you had at Guildhall, but were these skills less covered at music college?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Totally. No one taught me how to fill an invoice, or how to register for a VAT if I wanted to, or what's the bonus of, what's the point of having a website. No one really, well, sometimes they would, but the thing is, the music industry is changing so quickly as well.
Yeah.
And we have always to reassess our place in it. So it's really, it's an ever-changing industry. Yeah. Or they say there's no business, right? And and there's that joke, but I think this is the best. On the other side, the positive side, there's so much opportunities for fresh projects, you know, things that think outside the box. Now with this digital world, which I'm a person, people, I like to be in the room, like yourself. I like to mingle and jam, and the connection of being on stage and how to spill into someone else's sound, you know. Yeah. That's a beautiful thing as a listener, you know, how to have that. But yeah, CMF really taught me things that I would never have time to think about or be taught at Guildhall School. Yeah.